What's going on, everybody? It is your man Cleveland Terry, and I told you I would do this, so we are actually going to do this. We are going to compare and contrast the Newmark Mixstream Pro Go, the Denon DJ Prime Go, the standard for portable systems, and of course the newly released Omnis Dual from Alpha Theta, aka you know who they are. So we're going to go through this and just kind of discuss the facts. I will leave it up to you to decide what makes more sense for you. It's always important to understand when I do reviews, when I talk about things, this is stuff for you. I know how I feel, but the way I feel doesn't necessarily mean it's the way you feel. So I'm just going to lay out all the information and then we will go from there. Obviously, if we're taking a look at the systems here, we have three very, very different systems. Now, we have the cheapest of all of them, which is the Newmark Mixstream Pro Go, which, you know what? I don't even know how much it costs, to be honest with you. Newmark Mixstream Pro Go looks to be about $839. For whatever reason, I thought it was cheaper than this. Then we move up to the Denon Prime Go, which is been at, and I believe still is at about $1,000. And then of course the Omnis Duo, which is considerably higher at $1,500. Now, first things first, let's talk about price because I think price is very important. I think a lot of people are sticking to that number and they are just adamant about the number is making it crap. I've already said in my previous first look that yes, it is expensive. However, please understand that when the Denon Prime Go came out, this was $1,000 and most of you people said it is way too expensive. This should be $500, $600. Now, of course, we're seeing the same thing with the Omnis Duo. People are saying $1,500. That thing shouldn't be more than $500 or $600. Neither here nor there. That's the prices they chose. When this one came out, it was expensive and people definitely reacted. The only one that kind of operates in its pay scale is the Newmark at $839. Now, of course, the Newmark doesn't have the quality of neither the Denon DJ Prime Go or the Omnis Duo, but it's still a great, great piece of kit. Oh, and by the way, if you were looking to buy any of these devices, make sure you check out Hollywood DJ. We have a great, great promotion going on. This is right after NAMM. You can get most of this stuff for reduced prices. So use the code in my description below and see what kind of deals you can save. Doesn't just apply to this, go to their website and see what they have to offer. Hollywood DJ. Okay, we're gonna talk about the pros and cons of all of them. We're gonna talk about the things that they do have and the things that they don't have. So first off, we should probably start them all up. If I can find the switch. Okay, and it looks like the Omnis Dual is ready to go. I still have to hold down on this one. And of course, which is to be kind of assumed, the Newmark is still latest because it does have the weaker processor of all of them. We are on the demo track here, and the SD card here. Before we talk about the screens and the software, let's just talk about the things that are outside of the box, and that is the ins and outs. So first of all, they all have a 1/4-inch headphone jack and a mini jack. And on the back, things start to get a little more similar for two of these and not for this one. On the back of the Mixstream Pro Go, you have XLRs. I'm gonna go the right way. Then you have an auxiliary out, you have your SD card, two USBs, and then a USB-B, which is your computer port. On the Denon Prime Go, you do have a plethora of ins and outs, which is probably the best part of this device right here. But you have your XLRs, your RCA outs, an actual 1/4-inch booth, an auxiliary input, and two XLR combo jack mics, followed by a USB-B, and an Ethernet, and what is this last thing here? And, oh, and another USB. So this one is packed with in and outs. Best part of this device. On the Omnis Duo, you have your XLRs, your RCA, which doubles as your booth because there's a dedicated booth knob to it, a combo jack for the mic, and then a 1/4 inch for the mic. And then on the side here, you have 3 USBs. I believe you have your USB-C for power, your SD card, your USB-A for a thumb drive, and then your USB-C for your record box and or Serato, which we'll talk about too. On the top here, there's definitely a difference in methodology as far as design is concerned. On the Prime Go, we have this kind of unorthodox layout where you have all of your EQs running horizontal and pretty much nothing on the vertical, which is quite different than what most people have come to expect. This was probably the weakest part because people said, I have a little trouble, figuring out where the knobs are because I'm used to them being vertical and right by the faders. If we move down to the Mixstream Pro, and of course we have a more traditional style. The faders, plus we have the toggles, so if you're into battle mixer style DJing, these are fantastic. We move over to the Omnis, and of course we have the same thing, more traditional style EQs, followed by your faders and your crossfader. We should probably talk about the crossfader and the upfaders because they are noticeably different across the board. The cheapest feeling ones, it's hard to say because in all honesty, neither one of the Prime Go or the Mixstream Go have good faders. The crossfaders have always been the weakest link. They're just not that good. The upfaders are very much the same. They're just okay. The Prime Go faders feel better than the Mixstream Go. Going to the Omnis Duo, this is definitely the best crossfader out of all 3 of them, and it competes with pretty much any controller out there. It's a very good crossfader. The upfaders are smooth, and they feel good. On our center here, we do have our browse button, plus our loads, a back button, and a view button. Same thing with this one, obviously, because they keep the same software, but we're using the older style layout, which for a lot of people, they're very happy that it went away because it's just a little different. Again, it's just a different way of doing it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just different. They've gone away from this, gone to more traditional style, and I think that people have appreciated it. Moving over to the Omnis Duo, we do have our file browser up top. This is more traditional, the way that Pioneer DJ does a lot of their controllers where it's on top. You do have a load. Again, you don't have a dedicated back button. I've said before, I would have preferred that there had been a dedicated back button instead of using the shift or using the screen. I'm not a big fan of that, so that's definitely a weakness of this board. Now, moving over to the jogs and kind of the cue section here, this is where things start to change a little more. Now, this fader is fine, it's adequate, but it definitely is not as good as this fader here and this fader here. These faders have really good resolution. They're very smooth. I've had this board since obviously 2020, and it still feels good to use. The Omnis Duo has a good fader too. These are just short faders, and again, price point wise, this happens when the price is lower. Nothing you can really do about that. Moving over to the cue points, again, the weakness of the Mixstream Pro, we do have 4 cue points. That's all you got. And up here, we have 4 cue points, but you can set the bank and then move to the next cue points. Although most people don't really want to do that, it is what it is. On the Omnis Duo, you have 8 dedicated cue points. Now, one of the differences is between these and both of these is you have different pad modes. You have hot cue, you have loop, you have roll, you have bank. Same thing here, cue, save loop, auto loop, roll. There are no pad modes on the Omnis Duo. So if that's something that you're into, this is definitely something that is going to frustrate you. So let's move over to the effects. On the Omnis Duo, you do have your beat effects, which feel more like kind of the 900 Nexus style effects where you have the strip style. Although I'm not a fan of the strip style, I would prefer to have paddles like this guy. They are fine. The effects are screen based. You can only affect the change here. You can change the beat, you can change the auto, but you cannot change the effects without hitting the screen and then going through. So it's a little bit of a slower setup here. On the both engine OSs here, your effects are right here. So you can just click them and then go. and then they are active. But you are limited to these 4 effects on the Mixstream Go. On the Denon DJ effects they're much better, and there are tons of effects. But the filter knobs being up here, I've always felt were a little bit unnecessarily big. So that is that, but they do work. I would prefer them to be lower by the EQs, but they're not there. It is what it is. Over here, we do have the sweep effects, which gives you, 2 different kinds. One's an echo, one's a high pass filter, low pass filter. They all work. The effects coming out of Engine OS are good. I have no issue with them. Effects coming out of Omnis Duo and like the Record Box software have always been good. I don't have an issue with it. To be honest with you, as far as softwares go, they all have the best effects. All of them, except for, our friend with the S in front of its name. That needs a lot of work on their internal effects. But these effects are very, very good. You're going to be happy with any of them. It's a little harder to adjust the effects on the Prime Go. It's just the nature of the way the setup is, because you have to kind of reach up here and do all this stuff and assign 1 and 2 versus having them on here where you just toggle them, and then having them on here where you can at least see, because it can be hard to see the effects on this because of the screen real estate. Not a problem with the screen, but it is what it is. On the Numark Mixstream Go, you still can affect the feedback, but it's all via touch and not via the paddle. You can activate them, but in order to adjust them, you have to do that manually with the screen. We move over to the jogs, and the jogs are obviously largest on the Numark. They're medium on the Omnis Duo, and they're pretty much non-existent on the Denon Prime Go. Now, this right here is definitely the weakest part of the Prime Go. These jogs are very difficult to use. There's no way to adjust the kind of the weight, and they're very, very light. Obviously, with 2 fingers on here, you're basically on the whole display. Along with the crossfader, it just makes it very difficult. I know a lot of people have deactivated the crossfader and just rocked it kind of without the jogs and just used the pitch bends and the cue points and left it at that. Moving over to these jogs are very, very nice. They feel good. I will admit, the jogs coming out of the kind of the Mixstream, mixed track lineup are very good. I have had no problems with them, albeit, the stylings are the stylings. My feel on these stylings are the same feelings that people have about the fact that there is a little ring inside here, and why is it there? This crossfader is better than this crossfader, but it's still a weakness. As far as the way it definitely looks like it cost. It's not definitely a premium build. If I look at the Omnis Duo, and I'm looking at the Omnis Duo physically with my eyes and my hands, it's definitely a more premium product. The Denon Prime Go, definitely a premium feeling product. There's weight to the Prime Go. It feels stiff. It feels like you're going to be able to run this through the ringer and it's going to be fine. The same thing with the Omnis Duo. It has a stiffness to it and a weight. Even though, yes, it is plastic. There's plastic around there, but there's metal inside the chassis, just like all Pioneer products. So anybody that says it's plastic, yeah, so is the DDJ 1000. And guess what? That's one of the top selling boards ever. It is what it is. But the Denon Prime Go with the metal construction, this feels solid. This feels like I could throw it on the floor and it wouldn't even dent. That's what it feels like. I've always been a fan of the Denon Prime Go. I was one of the big pushers of it when it came out. Still a great device. But it's showing a little age, and there's some things in there that we should probably discuss. The difference between this board and this board, even though this has the weaker mic input, is, well, you can adjust the microphone on this one. You have a 3-band EQ, treble, mid, and bass. You can also decide whether you're going to send it to the speakers or send it to your headphones if you got like an MC that talks too much. So this is the evolution of this one, because on this guy, you have no option to adjust the microphone. The only thing you can change is the attenuator, meaning you can either boost it up or drop it down, or you can send it to the booth or not send it to the booth. So this is the biggest issue with the Prime Go. If you're running microphones, and again, 2 XLR combo jacks, so it's feature packed, but you can't EQ anything that's coming out of the microphone. It's actually bigger than the fact that the jogs are small. I need to be able to EQ my microphone if I'm taking it out. The whole point of taking out something like this is to be able to take it anywhere and to be able to use it without the need for a mixer. I'm sure when they come out with the Denon Prime Mark II, they will fix that. On the Omnis Duo, we do have a 2-band EQ, just the high and the low. We don't have a mid section, but in a pinch, I think that's fine. To be honest with you, I don't have a problem with that as long as there's some form of EQ, even if there was a tone knob, just so I can adjust out some of that bass. I'm okay with the fact that it's software based. It'd be nice if all of these had dedicated knobs instead of having to run them through the EQ, but it is what it is. People are asking what this circle is, and the circle is nothing. If you look at any of their other systems, the circle is on every device. The circle is a part of what they do. Now, could they have put something in the displays? Could they have done that? Well, obviously, but people, it's a portable controller. You're not gonna put some LED screens or these things to light up because it's just gonna suck the power out of your battery. So we gotta be smarter about this, guys. Now, battery-wise, the Denon DJ will give you, even at the top of the time, I was getting 4 hours and I believe 10 to 15 minutes. On this one, I think I'm getting about 4.5 to 4:45, and that's assuming that you're not streaming. That's key here. Anytime you use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, you're gonna suck the battery life out of you. On the Omnis Duo, have not used it full yet. They are promising 5 hours with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on. I have not put that down yet and tested it, so we'll have to find out when I'm actually on the go and I can actually, run it through its paces. So if it is 5, then it obviously is better than the other 2, but it remains to be seen. We'll see what happens. Now, we all know that in music, Denon DJ also owns SoundSwitch. So one of the biggest factors, one of the biggest selling points to either one of these devices or any Prime devices, and now obviously anything with Engine in it, is you can control SoundStream right from your device. So if I go to lighting, I have access to Engine lighting. This right here is the reason that you go with Engine. Right here. If you're into lighting and you want to be able to control your lighting, you still need the box, unfortunately. You need a SoundSwitch box. I can't wait till they finally come out with a system where SoundSwitch is in here, where you don't need the glorified dongle. That would be amazing. So on this one, yes, I can't fault SoundSwitch. SoundSwitch is an amazing application, an amazing light program, and the fact that it's integrated right into the systems means that it's a one-stop shop for all of you people that are using SoundSwitch. Not everybody uses SoundSwitch, so for some people, it's not gonna matter. If you're using a WMX or you're using something else, or you're using some sort of Chevet, Express or something like that. So, but if you're using it, if you're using SoundSwitch, these are the best devices for you. They have everything incorporated and it just makes it easy. Love this about the system. Although there is record box lighting, it's not built into here. Would have been nice if it were, but it's not. We do have the beat source in some cases, not all cases. We have Amazon Music. Obviously, there's no Amazon Music in here because it doesn't allow for the chip. But Beatport, BeatSource, SoundCloud, Tidal, Amazon Music on the MixStream Go. Just the 4 main ones on here. It's been fantastic. Along with the streaming, we do have the ability to talk to any computer because it has the Denon Engine operating system. It's almost like an applet where as long as it's on, it will see your computer and then you can stream directly from your computer. You can also stream from the cloud. So if you have Dropbox integration, you can put that stuff up there and then you can stream. Something like that on here, just not as developed. Now, there's no streaming on the Omnis Duo. It's not there yet. It's coming, but it's not there yet. I know that they're also trying to get streaming on the Opus Quad. I know for a fact that it is coming. It's just a matter of time. And then some of these issues that people are complaining about will be moot because the streaming is coming and you're going to get all the streaming services that they have, you're going to get on here. I'm not sure about Amazon Music. To be honest with you, this feels like kind of a in-music exclusive, but you're going to get the other main ones, your Beat Source, your Beatport, and your Tidal. Those are the standards. On the Denons, you can obviously adjust your beat grids. I don't believe you have that option as of today, or potentially ever, on the Omnis Duo. That doesn't exist that I can see. Let's see, we've been now on for about 30 minutes. You won't see 30 minutes, but we've been on for 30 minutes. Let's check the battery out on this one. And can I zoom in? The battery is 87% on the Mixstream Go. And the battery on this one, God, this is so small, is 80%. Obviously, this is an older device, but 80%, 87, 93. You take that how you will. On the layout, there are multiple views. I forget how to do view. I think it's shift and view. There we go. You can change the view on here. You cannot change the view on the Omnis as of today. Is that going to come there? I'm not sure, but I just know that you cannot change the view. As far as the battery is concerned, you don't have the ability to run kind of in a low power mode. You do have that ability on here where you can turn on the echo mode. It'll turn off your Wi-Fi, it'll drop your screen display down, and it'll turn off your Bluetooth. Obviously, you could do this on your own, and we know this, but it's nice to have a quick button that you can just hit and then send it into a low battery mode. Now, there's a day mode on here, done very, very well. It's nice and clean. I like the way it looks. We can go into the display and let's load in the track. Oh, one more thing. The Numark Mixstream Pro Go has speakers. It's the only one that has speakers. And while some may consider it a novelty, I think it's excellent if you were just trying to sit on a couch and work out your sets. You're not going to use these when you're out. You're not going to use them for a party speaker. They're just not strong enough, but they're really good for just kind of playing through your stuff here. And the question is, why is my touch on? It's been a minute. Fader echo. There we go. All right, so it's got like a little aftertouch like you would see on some of the Pioneer DJ products. That's nice. I like that. Now, there's your screen. You're limited to these colors. That's all you got. They've already preset them. It is what it is. On the Omnis, obviously, you can adjust the colors to your liking. So you can go in here and you can change them to RGB and then get what you want out of here. Obviously, there's a daylight mode on this one. And I'm gonna go back to blue, go to power, and then go here. All right, so you do have the blue here, but like I just said, you can change those colors just by going into your settings and changing it like so. So you get a little more customization on here. Now, they all have Bluetooth. However, the Bluetooth isn't activated. The modules have Bluetooth built in, but for whatever reason, they just opted to not have them on. It's still something they can turn on at some point. They all have them on the chipsets, so maybe we'll see it at some point. But Bluetooth becomes a central focusing point on the Omnis Duo because you can not only Bluetooth in audio and assign it to a track, so you can play those, but you can also have real-time mixing as you send Bluetooth to your device, and then you can control it with the jogs. You can assign cue points. You can do all the things, echo, all that stuff, and it'll stay in memory until you exit out of it. And that is a very, very nice feature. I know a lot of people are saying, well, why do we need it for? You need it. Trust me, when you start to use it, you'll realize how many options you have, how cool it is. So although we don't have streaming on this box yet, which is going to come, you do have an alternative for the time being. Now, of course, you can only do one Bluetooth at a time, so you can't stream both of them at the same time. But in a pinch, if somebody comes up to you, you still have that option. The last thing we're going to talk about is computer integration. Now, the Denon Prime Go, even though it's the first box that was released, at first didn't have any computer integration. They were saying, nope, we're not going to do any integration. This is a all-in-one unit. This is all you're going to need. We're not going to have you running Serato or Virtual DJ, so on and so forth. A couple of years into it, they decided to open it up, and it does work with Virtual DJ. By the way, Virtual DJ's implementation on Engine OS is some of the best across the board, anywhere, no matter what you say. It's just good. If you're a Virtual DJ user, you really should be using Engine OS. In all honesty, it just makes the most sense. Integration is stellar. But on the new mark, yes, you have Virtual DJ integration, but you also have Serato. Missing from the Prime Go is Serato. Serato never came here. That was a big con, big con, and it's one of the reasons why I tend to use the Mixstream Go over the Denon Go, because in the event that I need to, for whatever reason, plug in my computer and run, even though I do have Virtual DJ as an option on my computer, I prefer Serato. So the fact that it has Serato in here is heaven sent. Now, do I need to use Serato? No. And the biggest weakness of Engine OS is the fact that you can't move to a computer-based system without it taking forever. So if you ever try to go in and load Serato or load Virtual DJ, that shutdown mode where you have to basically shut the device off and have no sound whatsoever, that's a big deal, especially if you're having to go back and forth with people. There's no going back and forth if you're using Engine OS. You're doing one or the other. Nobody's swapping out, switching over, and that's just not a thing. However, on the Omnis Duo, well, there's two things that we have to at least acknowledge, and that is not only will it do Serato, because Serato is coming in a future update, but it does Rekordbox. None of these do Rekordbox, okay? Now, you can take your Rekordbox thumb drive and you can plug it in and it will convert it. I'm not saying you can't do that, but if you wanted to use your computer with Rekordbox, you can't do that on any of these systems. The only system to do Rekordbox on is the Omnis Duo, and it does Serato. More importantly, the transition from one to the next is what separates this one from the boys. If you go over to your sources, you click on here, the sources are just going to show up. So if you have a computer in, it's just going to say, PC, whatever, for Serato. And you can have an SD, you can have a thumb drive, you can have your computer. All of them can be active at the same time. You cannot do that with any of the Engine OS operating system devices. And it is what it is. But if you are a Serato user, like legitimately a Serato user, which a lot of people are, it's not a selling point to know that you can't use Serato on a device you're going to buy. Even if you never plan on using Serato, it's just that backup, that safety net that makes you feel comfortable. So that's definitely a big selling point for both the Mixstream Pro Go and the Omnis Duo. Now, the last thing I will say is not on this one, but on the Prime Go, we do have Ethernet, and you can use this. It operates on multiple things, Ableton Link, Ethernet port, so you can run Wi-Fi through there, and a whole bunch of other things that I saw and I've disregarded because most people won't use it for anything but internet. But you do have that internet right there. No Ethernet on here. However, one of the big things some people aren't going to care. I care. USB-C. USB-C over everything. USB-C to the computer, USB-C power, and these are standard power cords. So if you don't have them, you're out of luck. On this, I can use literally any USB-C. As you can see here, this is a super weak plug. It's like a 5 volt, and it powers this thing. I can have my system charged just by plugging in that weak port. So you can use any USB-C plug, probably like your Apple iPhone charger. You can use that. You cannot use that with these. You forget your charger, you're out of luck. The last thing I will say, blue. It's blue. Yes, it is blue. I am not going to say, you know, this whole thing about it looks like a toy. I don't know where people are getting that it looks like a toy. In all honesty, maybe it's because of the kind of the mono coloring here where everything's the same, but it is definitely not a toy. It's not as utility driven like the Denon Prime Go is, but it is definitely a little better than the looks of the Numark, which definitely looks on the cheap side, you know, and it's okay because it's a cheaper controller. But at $839 and $999 and then $1,500, which is a big jump. I'm not going to say it's not a big jump. It's a big jump. I would say this. This is what I will say. There is a lot of potential in the Omnis Duo. With the Prime Go, you are limited in some of their feature sets, and there's no way to firmware it up. You cannot adjust the microphone. You can't fix it. It's a separate mic, not connected to the OS. There's nothing you can do. So you're just gonna have to live with that. And for me, that was a problem. I choose this one over that when I know I have to do mic work. And that's sad because this is just a 1/4 inch and I can't stand 1/4 inch, but it is what it is in a pinch. I can EQ it. This one, I have a far more control, which I do prefer. Now, which one do you buy? Which one do you buy? Okay, that's a tough one because it depends on your needs, okay? If you are in need of streaming, absolutely, right now, you gotta have streaming, then, you know, there's no option here. You're gonna have to go with these. Streaming is coming to here, and I think it's coming sooner than later. If streaming is the same throughout the boards, which one do you choose? Well, again, the most bang for your buck is probably the Numark. And the only reason why I say that is because of the limitations of the microphone on the Denon Prime Go and the smaller jogs, which you learn to get used to them, but they're never fun. I've never had fun using these jogs. They just are what they are. You deal with them and then you move on. The crossfader, terrible. Just crossfader upfaders, terrible. These, a little better, but still, they're not up to the level. Headphones, very powerful on here, very powerful on here. This one's okay. The headphone jack is just okay. It works. I'm not complaining about it, but it is just okay. And it is to be expected, again, for the price. The industry standard was the Denon Prime Go. It was, but it is also 4 years old and it is due for a Mark II. If anybody were to ask me, should I buy a Denon Prime Go? I would tell them no. I would say wait, because something else has got to be coming out at some point and it's going to fix a lot of these issues. I just have a feeling that they're going to tweak this. They're probably going to do a more traditional layout, and I think that the jogs are definitely going to be bigger. But besides that, it's very unique. I can't fault it. Oh, the buttons. The buttons are fine. They're clicky. They do the job. These buttons actually feel better than these buttons, to be honest with you. These buttons are very, very good too. Probably a mixture. Yeah, these are spongy. These are clicky, and I know sometimes they don't catch on the cue. These have been very, very good to me, so I have no issues with these so far. Oh, the sound. Let's talk about the sound for a minute. But first, a word from our sponsor. The sponsor of this video is Direct Music Service. DJs, are you looking for a place where you can find great music that is current and up to date, great remixes and great curation of playlists? We'll look no further than Direct Music Service. I've been using Direct Music Service, aka DMS, for a while now, and I've used a lot of other services, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's one of those slept-on services that just offers a great value for what you get. You get great curation, you get playlists that are actually usable, playlists that are comparable to a lot of companies that do it full-time. That's all they do. Using my codes will give you discounts on either monthly or yearly subscriptions. Once again, thank you Direct Music Service for sponsoring this video. Sound quality coming out of the Omnis Duo, excellent. The Prime Go, excellent. Mixstream Go is okay. It works, but these are definitely better components inside here. Besides that, I'm tired. I think I'm done. I think I'm done talking about this. If you have any more questions, just leave them in the comments below, and we can talk about it next time. Guys, girls, if you found what I said useful, hit that like button. If you found what I said really useful, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on the Instagrams and the threads. Always a pleasure. If I don't talk to you later, we'll talk soon. Peace.